Harry, always a pleasure. Scully would have to be a guy there. That's a good call from Tom in Alabama. Enberg, Michaels, and Gowdy. Those three. Again, the Costases, the Brents, the Taricos. They're in a Jim McKay. They're in a different category because I don't look at them as play-by-play. When I look, me as a sports fan, when I think of broadcasting, to me it's the play-by-play that is most important. Okay, the hosting is great, and we can. I'm not Nance is. I love Nance, but Nance is not on that level. Not with those three. Here's Al in White Plains. Haven't heard from him lately. We wish him a happy holiday. Alfred, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? Okay.
Same to you, Chris. I hope you had a great. Great.
It's a grind. Christmas is a grind. Christmas is a grind, Al. Christmas is a grind. There's no question about it.
I'll give you two before I get to my other point. One is from our past, no longer with us, and he was great, but he knew baseball. But when we were kids, Chris Schenkel was off the charts. NFL kind of became the voice of college football for a long time, all the big games.
How about, you could put Keith Jackson. You could do Keith. Yeah, you could. He did that. You could do Keith Jackson there, too.
And I'll give you my most underrated, because I just... thinking about him, watching the Lakers Celtic 30 for 30s and listening to him over the weekend, and he did the Red Sox, so he's done them all, and he's still going strong.
Dick Stockton.
I would say Dick Stockton's probably the most underrated of all time.
I agree. Stockton has had a hell of a career.
He sure has, Chris. He's no kid. And he's still, he hasn't lost his fastball. He still has a heck of a job.
I agree with you. You're right about that. I don't think Stockton is on this level. I think he's a cut below.
No, but he's done them all incredibly well for a very long time.
Yeah, he really has. Dick doesn't go away. Yeah, it's an excellent, very well done there. You're right. All right, what else you got for me? Go ahead.
Dak was obviously the flavor of the season last year, and he's returned to earth. And a kid who has really gotten no respect, all about game manager, really what Prescott was last year. And he could throw the ball all over the field in college, and obviously he struggled with a team that was no good. But how can you sit there and tell me right now that Dak Prescott's any better a quarterback than Case Keenum?
I think there's some truth to that. Now, listen, and Case Keenum maneuvers a little bit. I got to see Keenan do this again. Good call from Al. I'm not too sure. The fascinating thing about the NFC playoffs is that the better quarterbacks are the lower seeds, being, of course, Breeze, Newton, Goff, maybe Matt Ryan, while the higher-seeded quarterbacks, obviously Keenan and Foles now, are spotty. So the lower-seeded teams in the NFC have very good quarterback play. Newton can be up and down. Ryan's had a bad year. I never completely trust him. Breeze, we all know about him, and we certainly know that he'll make some big plays. If Russell Wilson gets in there, he's dangerous. Keenan is a guy that, they should win that first playoff game. Minnesota, I would be surprised. Now, listen, Minnesota might play this. Minnesota's going to have a hard game, but I think if anybody was more likely to be picked off early, it would be the Eagles. I think Minnesota will get a win at home. I really do. Here's Joe in Maryland. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Joe, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? What's going on?
Hey, Mad Dog. Just listening to the coverage from the weekend that just was, and I know that the New England stories for the past couple weeks have all been about other people's ability to catch or not catch a ball, but I think it's what's unfortunately getting overlooked is the results that team is doing, especially with all the injuries they've had. They've overcome a lot of things. Now they're bringing in possibly James Harrison as another experienced player that they can fit in, that hopefully can figure out, the way New England plays the game, and the job that Belichick does every year, which is having that team ready to go and making plays that you don't need a crazy call to result in the outcome of the game. It just is not something that is being talked about anymore because it's getting drowned out by all the craziness of the NFL.
Well, Joe, remember what helps. What's an aspect here is that people don't like the Patriots. Number one, they're sick of them. Number two, they got 2 great calls in the last 2 weeks. Now it was an incomplete pass, I think, but the rule was terrible, and then they got a break Sunday against Buffalo. So I agree about Harrison and the defense and the maneuverability and good call. I believe in all that. And we all know how great Belichick is. I agree with everything you're saying. But the bottom line is that they have been lucky and fortunate the last couple of weeks. I'll tell you one thing about the Patriots. I think their luck's going to run out. They're going to get picked off by somebody. It may not even be in the Super Bowl, but I don't think New England's winning the whole thing. I just got a funny feeling. They were fortunate last year. They were fortunate against Seattle. This thing has a tendency of going the other way. Brady has not been as great. I think they're going to lose to something. They made a bad trade with Garoppolo, as it turns out. They're going to lose to somebody. Now, I don't know who. Pittsburgh, who knows? I mean, Kansas City, I doubt. They will lose to somebody in the postseason. Maybe it may not be until they play the Vikings or Eagles or the Saints or the Rams, but they will lose to somebody. We'll take a timeout. We continue. Mad Dog Unleashed.